Chapter 3, Air, Space, and Cyber Power. Section 3A, Identifying with Air Power. 3.1, Domains of Air Power. Air power can be applied from within, as well as across the domains of air, space, and cyberspace. From an operational perspective, the air domain can be described as that region above the Earth's surface in which aerodynamics generally govern the planning and conduct of military operations. The space domain can be described as that region above the Earth's surface in which astrodynamics generally govern the planning and conduct of military operations. The cyberspace domain is a global domain within the information environment consisting of the interdependent network of information technology infrastructures, including the Internet, telecommunications networks, computer systems, and embedded processors and controllers. 3.2, Air Power Defined. For the past 70 years, the Air Force has been breaking barriers as a member of the finest joint warfighting team on the planet, providing global vigilance, global reach, and global power for America. In terms of global vigilance, airmen have built a real-time global intelligence and command and control network that can find, fix, and finish the smallest of targets. Airmen operate multiple satellite constellations that range from ensuring situational awareness to nuclear warning. Cyber operators build, secure, operate, and defend our critical networks and mission systems, and are ready to take offensive actions in, from, and through cyberspace. In terms of global reach, the Air Force ranges the globe rapidly to respond to crises and deliver critical supplies and personnel to any location on the planet. Mobility airmen are in 23 countries at 77 locations, operating a global system of airfields and enabling access for allies and joint partners. Persistent engagements by our highly skilled Special Operations Forces enhance critical relationships and secure global access at a time and place of our choosing. In terms of global power, the Air Force can strike an enemy on short notice from anywhere in the world with American fighters, bombers, remotely piloted aircraft, and intercontinental ballistic missiles. Air Force special operators conduct counterterrorism missions daily, while our nuclear forces provide the foundation for deterrence. As airmen, we must ensure our mission is understood at all levels and appreciated for the capabilities air power brings to the fight. Air power is the ability to project military power or influence through the control and exploitation of air, space, and cyberspace to achieve strategic, operational, and tactical objectives. As the nation's most comprehensive provider of military air power, the Air Force conducts continuous and concurrent air, space, and cyberspace operations across the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of war. Air power provides the versatile, wide-ranging means towards achieving national objectives with the ability to deter and respond immediately to crises anywhere in the world, while aligned with land and maritime power during operations against enemy forces and when protecting and aiding friendly forces. 3.3, Space Superiority Defined. Space is integrated in all joint operations, connecting operators and providing global coverage for missile warning and other threats around the clock. The Air Force is responsible for 2/3 of the nuclear triad, providing the strategic deterrence underpinning national security and aggressively moving forward to normalize space as a warfighting domain. The Air Force and the National Reconnaissance Office have partnered to chart a course for a resilient space enterprise by 2030, with the capabilities of deterring aggression within the space domain and, if necessary, prevailing in a conflict that extends into space. With key organizational changes and the implementation of the space warfighting construct, the Air Force is evolving the space enterprise to be more robust and resilient and raising the bar in space training. Simulator realism is being improved to nurture full-spectrum readiness, ensuring the joint warfighter is prepared to execute multi-domain operations to overwhelm our adversaries. 3.4, Cyber Power Defined. In September 2006, the Joint Chiefs of Staff endorsed a definition of cyberspace as a domain characterized by the use of electronics and the electromagnetic spectrum to store, modify, and exchange data via network systems and associated physical infrastructures. For warfare purposes, the Air Force uses a working definition of cyberspace as a domain in which signals hold at-risk intelligence systems. 3 components to cyberspace: Electronics and the electromagnetic spectrum refer to the wave-particle duality of radiation that, when modulated with information, creates a signal. Data and network systems refer to digital information and application programs and the computers and networks on which they exist. Three components to cyberspace are recognized as 1. The effectors that encompass a broad range of signal-borne threats, analog and digital. 2. The medium that enables effectors to access the targets, wired and wireless, hardware and software. And 3. The targets to include weapons and systems that use computers or networks. Anticipating and avoiding threats eliminates the need to fight them and saves the concurrent cost to data and system integrity, making prevention an effective first line of defense against cyber threats. Anticipating a cyber threat includes setting up over-the-horizon early warning systems that detect anomalous activity, analyzing rapidly its forensic fingerprint to predict future behavior, and communicating through viable reachback options to avoid the threat. 4 axioms of offensive cyber power. The 4 axioms of offensive cyber power are misdirecting functionality, stealth access, exploiting vulnerabilities, and superior human cognition. From a war-fighting perspective, the Internet has traditionally favored the defense over the offense. This inherent advantage to the attacker resulted from the design of the Internet protocols for tolerance to failure rather than resilience to attack. Modifying the cyber domain may provide an effective method for attack avoidance. Just as a carrier battle group sails the oceans rather than sitting still in one location, so can a network or system move around the IP address space for deception and attack avoidance. The tenets of anti-tamper protection technologies seek to reduce vulnerability by reducing the scope of protection and focusing on critical components in a system, making them harder to access. This approach allows the defenders to impose high penalties on the attacker and deter the threat. Hence, offensive cyber power is the exploitation of the unconceived vulnerability, where unknown cyber insecurity wins against known cybersecurity in a complex, interactive system of computers, networks, and humans. 3.5. Identifying aircraft. Throughout military history, warriors have carried their unit colors into battle, raising them high to make an impression on their enemies and giving unit members a sense of belonging and pride. That tradition carries on to this day in the form of aircraft fin flashes or tail flashes. Information on standard tail flashes designates the base and unit the aircraft is from, as well as the tail number of the aircraft. Traditionally, units would select a single aircraft to be the unit flagship with a special fin flash that represented the specific squadron or wing, and was the assigned airplane for the unit commander. The flagship was the airplane generally used for photos, air shows, and other public displays. Today, while tail flash designs, as shown in Figure 3.1, can include color, tail flashes are often done in various shades of gray to maintain a camouflage appearance. Aircraft tail markings. While similar, each brand of the military has unique aircraft in their inventory and their codes may vary slightly. Attachment 3, Aircraft Tail Markings, provides a generalized foundation for aircraft identifiers. Roundel. A roundel is a circular disc often used as a national or historic symbol. One place that roundels are most commonly seen are on military aircraft or infrastructure. The French Air Service originated the use of roundels on military aircraft during World War I, most often using colors of red, white, and blue as representative of their national flag. Attachment 4, the roundel, shows the evolution of the roundel throughout its use in the U.S. Air Force. 3.6, Mission Design Series. The Mission Design Series designator is an official Department of Defense recognized alphanumeric symbol used to designate military defense aerospace vehicles categorized as aircraft, guided missiles, rockets, probes, boosters, and satellites. The designator describes the aerospace vehicle in 2 components, separated by a dash. The first component, comprised only of alpha characters, describes the mission of the vehicle. The second component, comprised of alphanumeric characters, describes the design number and design series of the vehicle. Also, Some designators will have a letter following the two-part designator of the aircraft to indicate the model type or series, usually due to improved model designs. Over the years, the designations have changed, but much of the system has remained the same. Table 3.1 is provided to show a comprehensive list of Mission Design Series designators for Air Force aircraft.